Hi everybody, in this video I'm going to show you how to make a beautiful beaded umbrella brooch. This is the first step. I haven't done the backing on it and I haven't done the clasp yet, so this is the first video. There's going to be part 1 and part 2. So yeah, this is what your brooch is going to look like. Obviously this bit isn't attached yet and I haven't done the backing and I haven't trimmed, as you can still see the fabric, look, at the bottom. So we're going to trim this with beads so you won't be able to see any of that fabric, and get this finished off in part 2. So this is part 1, how to make a beaded umbrella. Sorry I haven't been around for a while. I had been feeling a bit rough, so I had to take some time to just relax and recuperate. But yeah, okay, here we go. Enjoy, folks. Have fun. Hi everybody, I'm making a bead embroidered brooch today. You can use one of these bead embroidery rings, whichever size. And you don't have to do the same pattern as me. I mean, you could do, I've got some mushrooms here which I'm going to do. I've done a mushroom brooch before, I don't know, I think I actually put that one on my channel. I'm going to do a cupcake and ice cream and a moth. So, and I've done trees and various other stuff. So you can just, you don't need to use an embroidery ring. You can just take a piece of felt, draw your, that one's going to be a butterfly, draw your design and just work directly onto your piece of felt if you find that easier. Some people prefer it that way, but sometimes I find it's easier to stretch it out on one of these embroidery rings. So I've put some of that tulle, this, it's called tulle, I think, is it? Netting sort of fabric, and stretch that out on my embroidery ring. And then I've drawn my umbrella there. So the first thing I'm going to do is just tack that. I've done a knot in the end of my thread and I'm just going to tack that to my tulle so that it's all stuck together basically. So go ahead and tack that. While I'm tacking this, I can tell you what else I'm going to use. There's no strict rules with this either, and I am making it up as I go along, so I can't give you a complete material list until I get to the end, because I'm not sure what necessarily I'm going to be using. So I know some of what I'm going to be using, and it does vary depending on, you know, what sort of pattern you're making. I've done butterflies, trees, you know, all kind of mushrooms, various different things for brooches. So it depends what you're doing as to what materials you use, and you can just make it up as you go along. It's less sort of strict, if you like, with your patterns making jewelry, because you have to follow a rigid pattern for it to come out correct, whereas this, you can kind of make it up as you go along, and if you've got different beads you can use different beads. There's no rules to this one really, and it's whatever beads you can get to fit in your pattern. So yeah, there you go. I've just tacked it down just so it's now not going to come off. I'm just going to do one more so I end up at the middle there, and then there we go. So I've tacked that down, and this one, like I said, it's going to be an umbrella, and I've got some of my beads here. I have these rolls of cup chain on a roll in various different colours and sizes, and this is the tiny one. I think this is the 3mm cup chain. I've got 4mm and other sizes, but the 3mm is good for this one. And what I'm going to do, I'll show you where I'm going to, I'll just put them on so you can see what I'm going to do with it. So first I'm going to sew the outer edge, which is going to be this pink colour like that. So put a cup chain on there. I'm going to sew that in place. I'm just demonstrating to you at the minute, so it's not going to be perfect. And then these pieces of cup chain, also go on. I might have to adjust these a little bit, hence why I've got these nippers You need your wire cutters, so I might have to nip a bit off of that one. And so on like this. So I'm gonna stitch these on first, like so, which will make kind of like the outline of everything. So that'll be the first job, is to stitch on the cup chain. And you don't have to use cup chain either. If you don't have any of this, you can use, I'll just use this pin actually. If you don't have any cup chain, you can just sew your seed beads directly down the edge. Just sew around the edges, you know, with your seed beads. Or you can use them, I can't remember what it's called now, I'll show you in a sec. It's like a spring wire stuff, which I sometimes use on some of my brooches. So yeah, you get it all in place like that. And then I'm going to stitch that down. And also, we're going to have some here like so. So you want to make yourself your little design and sort of map it all out before you actually come to putting it together, so that you know everything's going to fit and that the colours will look right together and whatnot. So I might have to cut a bit off one of these as well. That one's a bit too long, so I'll cut one off there so it sits like so. There should be another one somewhere for the middle. This piece will do. So I'm going to have to cut some of mine. So yeah, so you just want to roughly see that it's all going to fit. There you go, it's starting to look a little bit more like an umbrella now, isn't it? So that's going to fit like that. So very first of all, that's what I'm going to do, is tack down all these pieces. So I'm just going to sew in between each bridge, in between each gemstone, all the way around until I've got all that base on. So that's what I'm going to do first. But I'm going to be using some of these. I've got some 4mm bicones, various different blue colours, which are going to go on. And I was thinking these might look pretty on the ends here, like so. These lovely little flower things. On the ends like that. So just, yeah, mapping it out, making sure it's all going to fit nicely. So yeah, I'm going to do that, I think, with the little flowers. Oh, one on there. And this pin I'm using is going to be part of it as well. It's going to be the handle for the umbrella coming out there. So yeah, it's going to be somewhat like that. Just to give you an idea of what I'm going to do. And then I've got a couple of these. I might use one of these teardrops in here. And I might use one of these in here. And then I'm going to use blues with the seed bead, I think. So just the trim there will be pink, and then we're going to have that colour blue. I much prefer them when they're in a tube. I bought these from the market, these ones. They're Mayuki, but she obviously separates them up and puts them in little bags, which I prefer the tubes. I bought these from the market a few years ago. And then a slightly different colour blue there. They're all kind of shiny. And then I might use some of these, I don't know yet. I'll get them out anyway, just so that I've got some options there. They are actually a blue. They look silver, but they're a really, really pale blue. So I've got a few different colours of blue seed beads, a few different of the bicones. So there's some of them are going to go in there. So yeah, it's going to look somewhat like that. So I'm going to take all that off. Take it all back off. It's just to get an idea of, you know, the kind of design you roughly want to do. Because like I say, you can add any beads, you can put pearls, you can use size 6s and size 8 seed beads, whatever you like. And you don't have to use this cup chain to do your lines around the edges. You could use something different. You could, like I say, you could just go around with the seed beads. It's a good idea to sketch whatever it is you're gonna be making. We'll start off with this edge. But yeah, you can also, I forgot what it's called again. Hang on, I'll just get French something or other. And you can get it different sizes and different colours. There's just a couple here, just to give you an example. I sometimes use this stuff for the edging. I used it for one of my brooches. I made a flower brooch and I used this. It's like a spring. I'll try and zoom in a bit. Like a spring, like a coiled spring, and you can use that stuff. A lot of people use that, you know, to stitch around the edges to make like a border and to do your lines in between. Gives it quite good definition, and you can get it in different colours. The name of it's on the tip of my tongue and I just can't remember now. I put it in one of my videos. And then yeah, you can get different thickness, like this one's a lot thinner in pink. It's the same stuff. I forgot the name on it. It just says French. Oh, gimp wire, that's it. French metal wire, gimp coil bull. There you go. Pink. And this company that I bought this from do 25 different colours. So there you go. Some fuzzy orange there and some black. I've got some few more, I think red and a few other colours. So yeah, you can use that for the border, or you can just thread your seed beads and use them in the technique that I'm going to use to fill in the spaces. You can just do that around the edge of a line of seed beads. So you don't have to have this cup chain at all. So yeah, we're going to start off by whatever you're going to use for your border, you're going to go around the edge of your piece of work. So in this case, I'm making an umbrella. If you want to make the same, I used a pencil just to draw my basic pattern there. So I'm just gonna, I'm gonna start up here, because my thread's coming out here. Right, so I want it to come out on the actual line. So I'm gonna follow this line exactly. And make sure we stay dead on that line. Get my thread up there. And then place this correctly, so it's in the exact right place. And the reason why I like to use the embroidery ring is because it keeps everything nice and tight, stops it from curling up, because once you start sewing on it, it can curl, and I don't like it when that happens. So it ruins your work and your brooch won't be flat at the end. So I'm going to start stitching that on just by going in between each gem. Oh, it's caught in my dressing gown now. And yes, the dog's licking again. He always starts licking as soon as I start filming. I don't know if that's going to be long enough actually, or if that's just not in the right position. No, it's slipped through now. So I'll loosen this and slip it back through a bit further. It's a bit fiddly to get started because you just need to should have really put a pin across that piece. Where is my pin cushion? Hang on a second, I'm just going to stick a pin in there just to hold it in place. So I think that will help. A pin, my pin cushion, needle, whatever. Right, it's got one here. I'm going to put this pin. I made the pin cushion, what do you think? Little cupcake. It's got a bit of a funny colour where it's been sitting around so long, but alright, so let's get that end in place. Sticking this pin. That first little bridge between these gems is where I'm trying to go. There we go. Right, let's pin that down. There we go. Let's pin that into place. Now we can pull this up and through, and then pull that thread tight. I'm using the Ceylon B or whatever they call it. Which is upholstery thread. It's very, very strong. But for this, you don't have to use any particular thread. You can actually use whatever thread you like. Just normal sewing thread will do for this, provided you know your threads go through your beading needle. Because I'm using a size 10 beading needle, you keep in mind that you need to be able to fit your beads on your needle. And I'm going to be using mostly size 11 seed beads and a few crystals. So size 10 is fine. If you're using 15s, you might want to use a size 12. I will be using a couple of 15-0s, but I think the 10 should go through fine. So yeah, basically go all the way around and stitch all your border first. So whether you're using cup chain or gimp wire, it's a horrible name, I hate that word, gimp. Yeah, does not invoke nice images in the mind, but never mind. So yeah, go around, and if you are using cup chain, just go between every single, which takes a little bit of time, but you know, once it's secured in place, that's going to make it really sturdy, and go between every bead. It makes it a really nice solid line all the way around the edge and makes your piece look a lot more solid at the end. So go around, add your edge, and then your little pieces like this. I'll come back and join the first couple of these little ones with you, or maybe the first one and the second one. But yeah, go around your first piece of chain or gimp wire or whatever it is you're going to use for your edge, and then we'll come back after that. So you're going to need whichever colour seed beads. I mean, you might do a red umbrella, black one, blue one, you know, pink, whatever colour you want. So, but I'm using mostly a blue theme with just pink as my border. So I've got two different colour of 11 seed beads. I've got these little blue flowers, which I'm going to add probably on the ends like I showed you. I've got several different colours of blue, different types of blue, 4mm bicones. I've got some clear crystal 3mm bicones. I've got a couple of these blue. I don't even know if I'm going to use them yet. I might do. So I've got some other little ones somewhere. There's a heart somewhere. Where's the heart gone? There's a little blue heart somewhere. Oh, I don't know where that is anyway. So yeah, that's some of the stuff that you're going to need for this project, and some sort of a pin. I'm going to use this old hat pin, which is going to sit underneath there, and then it's going to come out of the top here, and then it's going to have a bead on top, and that's going to be the umbrella handle. But we'll get there in a bit. So yeah, go ahead and do your outer rim, and then I'll get back to you when I've got as far as that. Okay, so we've gone up close. I've done this side, and I've tacked back across, and then I'm going down this side. But I just wanted to show you a little technique. Doug, do you mind? He's trying to squeeze beside me. He's so big. Right, let's... Dog, don't jog me. Sit down nicely. Alright, so what I do is making sure I'm keeping on that pencil line that I've drawn there. It's really more to the outside of it than the inside of it. Like so. And then I pull my thread up, and obviously I want that to sit on the line, so I'm going to go back down on that line, like so, that exact same spot. But then what I'm going to do is, once I've got my needle in, and I've gone through a certain way, I'm going to put my fingernail over it like that, and that way the thread's caught under my finger and it won't catch on these little teeth here that are holding those little crystals in the cup chain, and it will just catch on that middle bar without tangling on any of the little claws that are holding the gemstones in place. So just keep going on the line like that, up through there. Oops, tangled up. My wire cutters. Let's get them out of the way. So yeah, through the fabric on exactly on the line, and then push your chain up to the line, bring your thread down, and yeah, if you want to put your fingernail over it like that. Like so. And the thread's running through under my finger and it can't tangle up on these little hooks in the cup chain. So yeah, just keep going like that until we get to the other end. Make sure, I don't know how many times you have to poke around, make sure you get it on that line, otherwise you're going to have a wonky looking piece at the end. So yeah, it's on the line, push it back like so, and back in that same spot, like so, and I'm going to put my fingernail over that thread just to stop it from tangling up, and it will just sit on the bridge. So yeah, get all the way down to the bottom, and then we'll start adding the other pieces here. So carry on the way down like that. Okay, so we're just going to do exactly the same thing with these little pieces here. So on this end I'm going to have to make my little piece here stick out further to make the point on the end, look, like so. On this end, I don't know if I will, because obviously if that goes to, yeah, well on this one as well, slightly out, like so. So we're just going to do exactly the same thing. Just go round and keep sewing on that line, exactly the same, and adding the rest of your trim. So this one I've poked it just slightly below, because that one doesn't quite come to the end there, look. So I'm going to put this one so it sits slightly below, so it meets that point there on my drawing. So just make sure you follow the line of your sketch, and then keep adding your little bits of chain, or your gimp wire. I'll show you what, if I can find it. I'll just stop the video a sec, by the time I find it, wasted time. That's what I wanted to show you. That's when I used the gimp wire for the outer rim. So you can see how it trims things nicely. And then this bit of beading is done after you've added the backing and the brooch pin, and that's just a trim. But yeah, the gimp wire looks really effective. I really think it gives it a nice solid sort of edging. I quite like the flower one. But yeah, that's some leather on the back for the clasp. So that's what the gimp wire looks like basically. I think it looks lovely, really nice effect. Anyway, we're going to carry on with this one. Keep tacking it down until you've got to the edge of your umbrella. Okay, so once you've got that done, all the edges sewn on, and then I've done the little bits in between as well. And then this is the bit where you get to be really creative. Can you see that colour? I can't tell if the fake light is affecting that pink. It doesn't look very bright pink to me. It's a lovely pale pink colour, but I can't tell if the camera's picking that up. I hope so. Anyway, yeah. And this is the bit where you get to be, you know, add your own creative flair and do whatever you want to it. So I'm going to just start adding some beads and show you the general idea what I do here. So I've actually picked out some pink pearls as well because I think they'll look nice. So it's going to be, hang on, I'm coming out underneath here, so I need to be in this corner. So if you find yourself in the wrong place, you just stitch back across through your fabric like that, and you can get back to wherever you want to be. I want to be here, so I'm going to add, and this is where we make it up as we go along, because obviously you start adding beads and you might have gaps, you might have, you know, little spaces you need to fill, and then you just sort of kind of ad lib really. So I'm going to add these pink ones first. They're like a dusty pink. I want them to sit there in the corners like that. So I'm just going to thread that one in, like so. And I'm going to come back up, kind of underneath it, like so. And then go back through the side, just to really secure it in there. It can stay where I want, like so. So that there. And then I'm going to add that little flower. And I really want it to sit there above that tiny point, so I'm going to put my needle kind of between those two there. Yeah, that should be alright. And then I'm going to pick up my little flower. And obviously if you don't have flowers, you know, you don't have to have flowers on the edge, you can just leave it like this. I just thought they would look really cute. And I've been wanting to use them for something. So about there I want it to sit. So now I'm going to have to take, where's my 15 seed beads? Just little silver 15s. So that I can secure that flower down. Just going to take one of my 15s. Oh, yeah, we'll go. Alright, thread that. So leave your 15 sitting on your thread there. Mine's just there. And then go back through this bead. And then that little 15 will sit, oops, I've got a tangle, grey. No. So the little 15 will sit there. Just give it a little fiddle, make it sit up straight. And that's going to secure that flower in place, like so. Stand up like that. And then we'll go back up here. Oops, I unthreaded my needle there. Right, then we go back across to here. And then I'm going to come up this side here. And I'm going to add another pink. And like I say, you can use any beads you like. You could use the bicones here on this piece. Bicones would actually sit really nicely, look, because they oops, see, that one's gone on the floor. Well, that's lost that one. See how the bicones, because they're pointy, would sit so nicely in that little gap there. But I've chosen these. So I think a nice little pink trim. And down through there. And then I'm going to come back up. Oops. It's hard to see when I've got the camera in front of me. Back up in there. I want to be on that side of the thread, so I'm just going to go underneath that bead. Not through the fabric, I'm going under the bead because I want to come out the top. I do not want to get tangled in that thread. So I have to come out that side really. Back through the top of this one. So all I'm really doing is just adding them. Let me turn it around so you can see. Got such tiny holes, these Swarovski pearls. And the pearls, yeah, the pearls are all Swarovski, and the bicones are all Swarovski as well. So they're very high quality. Cannot find the hole. So, they're all very high quality beads. I think if you use the cheap beads, it really does affect the overall finish of your work. You know, when I first started beading, I bought a load of cheap beads from China thinking, yay, you know, these are cheap. And they were rubbish. Really were odd sizes and bad cut, you know, just really not very good quality. So I prefer to stick with Miyuki for my seed beads and Swarovski for my crystals, or Preciosa, which is the next best thing to Swarovski, but I do prefer the Swarovski crystals. So that's the next one. So I'm just giving it a little trim around the edge before I do all my filling in. And then I want to hop across to the next bit. You can just sew through your fabric because this isn't going to show. This is all going to be covered in beads, so it will be complete solid beads by the end. And none of this thread will show. It's just working my way across to where I want to be, really. So sorry if I've gone out of focus there. But yeah, like I say, you make this bit up as you go along. Or you can copy exactly, you know, the way I'm doing it, just to get the hang of it, and then design your own ones later on. That's how I started, just following tutorials, and I bought some bead books, which I found a bit confusing at first, but once you've done the stitches, or if you use the books alongside some tutorials, they make a lot more sense. If you've never done any of the bead patterns before, it's quite hard when you first start learning all the different stitches, but you soon get the hang of it. Oh, there it is. So I want to come up slightly under the bead, and then back through the top hole, there, and then down into that point there. And you can just experiment and see what works, what doesn't, you know. And it all depends what beads you have in your collection. I mean, not everybody's going to have these little flowers, for instance. I got these actually in a charity shop. They had some of the charity shops have little baskets where they sell, you know, bric-a-brac and thread, yarn, wool, you know, crochet hooks and things, anything artsy craftsy really. And they had a bunch of these and some seed beads. So I bought a few. They're only cheap as well, so they're all brand new still in their boxes, so you can sometimes find some real little gems in the charity shops. I really want to do a squirrel brooch, a beaded squirrel, so I might do that next, we'll see. I've got so many ideas, so many things I want to make, but it's getting around to doing it all. It's the hard thing. And these things take a lot of time and patience. You can see it's starting to come together now. It's quite pretty, doesn't it? So yeah, I'm just going to carry on doing that to the end. And then start filling in all these areas with the beads as well. So I'm just going to make my way across to the next one. So I'm just going to carry on doing that until I get to the end. Obviously, if you haven't got flowers, you could use any other little beads to put on there. Or you can go online and find some flowers, flower beads. So yeah, I'll meet you when I get back to the end and I'll finish this bit. Okay, so we got to the end there, and I've added all my little flowers and my pearls. So now we're going to work at filling all these pieces. So there's going to be a lot of seed beads and a few crystals, I think, as well, that I'm going to put in, just to give it a little bit of a bling bling. I'm not sure where I'm going to put them yet though. But yeah, so I'll show you how to work up the next piece. But like I say, if you don't have any little flowers, I mean, you could just use a tiny little one of these crystals, one of your 3mm bicones and your 15Os, and you can add those there. Or you can just put a crystal or a rhinestone or a seed bead in there to fill in that space, or you can just do the beading all the way down and you don't have to do these little fancy bits. I just wanted to make it really fancy, yeah, just for fun. And I think I'm going to go ahead and add, let's work our way up to the top. So I'm going to put one of those flowers up the top as well. So we work our way up to there. And come out about there, yeah, in the middle. Is that right in the middle? Yeah, that'll do. And then take another flower. I mean, basically you can fill it in how you like. I mean, the important thing is affixing your umbrella post and then your little bit on the top. And how to add all your seed beads, and then obviously how to do your backing and how to turn it into a brooch. Obviously not going to see any of the back of this because that's the back covered in stitches, but we cover the back in leather, and obviously put your brooch pin and stuff on the back there. I'm going to add another flower at the top because I just want it to be super pretty, super girly, sparkly, pretty summer. Might be a summer parasol. It doesn't have to be an umbrella, it could be more of a parasol. And I've got a beautiful white parasol that I use in the summer, but I think that's really cute. Yeah. Okay. And I might add a couple of these in odd places too, to give it some bling bling. A couple of the larger beads, yeah. Add a couple of them. I'll add them first as well, just to get them out the way. So, or maybe I won't actually, no, I won't. I'm going to start on this side, so we're going to start adding our seed beads. So we're going to go right close in here, like so. Let's start adding our seed beads. So we start picking up 2 with our little blue 11Os, or whichever colour you decide to do. Mine's obviously pink and blue. So I'm using the blue seed beads. It's going to be hard to see on the blue seed beads on the blue background, but if you use the blue background and blue thread, it makes it all a bit neater at the end. So I'm going to go down into my felt, like so, and then I'm going to come back up in between those 2 beads that I've just added. So I'm trying to come in between them, yep, like so, and then go back down one of them, just like that. Just like so. And I'm going to take 1 blue bead, slide that down, let it drop right in front of that one, like so. And then I'm going to go down, and then again I'm going to come back up between the beads. This first I'm going to do between those 2, and I'm actually going to go down 2 just to join those together. Oops, do not loop around your beads. There you go. You can see those blue beads starting to join in a line. So I'm going to pick up another one. Slide that down. This bit takes a while. This is the longest bit. And then down through your felt, like so. And back up between the beads. And back through the one you just added, like so. And then that secures them nicely along there. So we're just going to keep going. I think I could probably add 2 at a time. I'll try adding 2 because it'll work up a bit quicker then. So I'm going to add 2 seed beads this time. And go down into my felt. And then back up between the beads, like so. Down through the 2 that I've just added, like so. Just going to add 1 this time. Yeah, it looks better if you add 1 at a time, to be fair. Even though it's going to take longer, adding 1 at a time actually works neater. It's neater. So I would just add 1 each time. I need to go down 1 or 2. Go down 2 this time. Yeah, like so. I'm just basically going to keep doing that. Just going to keep going. adding one bead at a time, like so, and then back up and through the bead you just added, like so. And it works out to a nice neat line, look. You have to push it up a little like that just to make it fit. So I'm going to keep going like that. All the way down. And then back through the one you added. And just keep going like that. All the way down. And then at certain points, see how it's going to fill in. So you're just going to go down in a row, and then a row back up, and a row down, a row up, row down, until it actually just fills in with rows of beads, like so. And occasionally I might put one of these, I'm not going to do it on the edge, well actually I might do, that might look quite nice on the edge. I'd rather do it more in the middle, we'll add some of those. But for now we're just going to keep going down in a line like so. I'll turn it this way because it's easier for me. Hopefully you can see clearly. I'm going to have to finish this off tomorrow in the daylight so you can see the true colours, because I really don't, oh no, I've got a low battery. I'm going to have to go and charge my battery, guys. So yeah, just keep going in a line like that all the way down, and I'll meet you back when I've charged up. Okay, so we're back and we've charged the battery. I did do a couple more beads while I was sitting here. Let's zoom in a little bit. There we go. I did add a couple more beads. I hope you can see the colours in this light. The artificial light always spoils the colours of the beads. They're never quite as pretty as they look in real life. But anyway, right, so I'm coming out here, done a row, and I think I'm going to add one of my crystals. So I have one more of these seed beads and a crystal, and hopefully that will fit there. If not, we might have to add another seed bead. That's what I mean about making it up as we go along. Alright. Oops. Yeah, that fits nicely, that. There we go. Gives that bit of sparkle on the end. Alright, and then we're going to go back up the other way. So, just make sure that's, I'm going to come up between the beads that I've just done. Up in here. Just to secure that bicone a bit better. Down through there. So, oops, gone through my tool, whatever it's called. Did I? Yep. Oops. Alright, so that's on there like that. It's going to be very blingy, so why not? Bit of bling, bit of sparkle. Haven't done any beading for a while, so I'm going to have to zoom out a tiny bit because I just can't get under there. Right, so I'm going to come down to here. I think I might start with a couple of these really pale ones down this side, down this edge. Yes, I think that would look really pretty. So I'm going to do a couple of the pale ones. I think I'll do a couple of the pale ones at the bottom of each row, except where I add a crystal. I think that will look quite nice. Just, it's better than one flat colour all the way down. Just be careful not to go through that tool at the edge. I added 2 little beads there. Hope this is all in focus, guys. It's really hard to tell. It's really hard to bead like this as well, actually, because I would normally hold it on my lap kind of thing, especially with this sort of thing. So I have to hold it quite a long way from my face, which makes it a little awkward, especially when you're trying to find these tiny beads. I don't think I did too light. I think that one of them's dark, actually. Did I get the wrong bead there? I think I did. Oh well. Maybe not. Can't see it from here. Right, we'll start off with the lighter blue. I'm going to add 2 at a time because it's going to work up a bit quicker. And I think it's neat enough with going through 2. I'm going to go around this bicone a bit, so it's not going to be quite straight there. And then we come up there, back through those 2. Quite as I get caught on the edge. And then 2 more. And you're just going to keep going like this with the seed beads. And obviously adding crystals wherever you see fit, really. I mean, you don't have to put any crystals. You can just do this in really neat lines and make it just a bit more plain. It doesn't have to be so blingy. You don't have to add flowers, you know. You can make your own design if you wish. And then back up through here. My computer's making a horrid noise. I don't know if you can hear it from there. Horrible whirring noise. Through those 2 I just added. Like so. And just basically keep going like this all the way until you've filled in your brolly. So you need a lot of patience. Depends if you like doing fiddly things. I'm going to turn it the other way up because I think you might be able to see better. Yeah, look at that. You can see much better this way. And then get that row in next to there. Back up. You can turn your work whichever way, you know, to help. It's come through actually. No. And don't worry if your row goes a bit wonky, because when you add your next row, it'll push this one in and neaten it up. So basically you're just going to keep going like this, adding your beads as you go. all the way down. You can see that really starting to come together now. Kind of get an idea of what it's going to look like. So it's going to be a bit easier for you, so you're not going to be holding your work at arm's length like I am. Which makes it a little bit tricky. But, as you guys can see what I'm doing. There we go, back through. That just pulls it in line. Look how clear that looks on the camera. And then 2 more, and then I'm going to change to the darker blue. Oh, these 2. Although I think some of these might got a bit mixed up actually. Can't tell which ones are the dark and which ones are the light. They're very similar colours, so just a slight difference in shade. It just gives things a nice look rather than one flat colour. Quite like these because they're very sparkly as well for a seed bead. Very, very sparkly. Right, that's that through there. I think that top one's darker. Right, let's go for the darker ones this time. 1, 2. Yeah, it does seem to work quite well with 2 at a time instead of 1. It's not too bad actually. Obviously it's always going to be neater if you add one bead at a time. That seems to be a bit... Actually, I've gone too far with that. Hang on. Just take those beads back off. Perfectionist. It's too far away from that bead. So, I'm going to go back down. And then back up. Straighten those beads out a bit. I'm going to got these 2 here. These 3, sorry. 3. That last bead, I don't know, it's not very tight, so I thought I'd go through that again. Just to straighten that up. Yeah, I don't know why I was coming out the fabric, I don't know what I did there. Just not concentrating clearly. You've probably seen whatever error I make before I do. But, did something there, yeah. So a slightly darker one now. Don't know if you can see the difference in colour. But, we'll probably be finishing this off tomorrow in the daylight. I might make part 1 and part 2, unfinish the front, and then show you how to do the brooch backing. Because some people might not want to make it into a brooch. You might want to do this, because you can make something like this. Then once you've cut it out and trimmed around your edge, you could sew that to like a denim jacket or the pocket of something, or even on a shirt maybe. That would look nice, you know, on the back of a shirt. But obviously then it would have to go through the wash and stuff, so you'd have to hand wash. But yeah, this is going to be a brooch, so obviously I'm going to make the back for after we've cut all this out. We make the back, attach the back, and then we do a trim of beads to join the back and the front, so there's no fabric showing down the edges. So yeah, maybe we'll make part 1 and part 2. So do the front and then the back. So yeah, you're just going to keep going like this with your little beads, like so, up and down, and then I think I'm going to add, what did I decide to do? Where is it? Yeah, I think I'm going to add the heart here, and possibly this small one here. I might put it in this middle section as well, I don't know. I'm definitely going to put the heart there and then add this one somewhere. I can't get it set up straight. Maybe in the middle section, or maybe on the edge, or maybe I won't add it at all. We will see. So yeah, when I get to this bit and add the little heart, I'll show you. Or if I decide to add one of these, I'll show you how I add those. And then whiz through the rest of these beads. So carry on with your beading. And yeah, I mean, you might want to add some pearls in. You might want to do a row of pearls. You know, switch things up and make it really funky and colourful. It'd look quite nice actually, a row of pearls, wouldn't it? But yeah, so keep going, adding whichever beads you want to add. And I'll meet you back whenever I decide to stop. So maybe I'll do some of this on speed. You know, do it on fast so you can just see it building. All right, see you back here in a bit, folks. Okay, so we've now got one section complete. You can see how nice it looks when it fades down into that lighter colour. So yeah, I'm just going to keep going, doing those nice neat rows like that. And then, yeah, I'll add the heart here. Maybe add another crystal over here. And I'm going to add these crystals next to each pink one. So I'm going to do a couple of lines down here to join in with this and then do the heart. But I'm going to take a tea break and go and have a cuppa and then come back to you. So you can either carry on without me and carry on with your lines, or you can wait for the next bit and we'll carry on, because I'm going to add some crystals and then show you how to obviously take it off your frame and finish it off, yeah. Okay, so right, I will see you all when I've had some coffee. Quick coffee break, because it is, yeah, it's quite a lot of work. But yeah, you get the idea. And I'll be back to you soon. Okay, so we got this far. It's actually morning now. I didn't get finished last night. I was too tired, so ended up having some dinner and relaxing. Right, sip of coffee. Yeah, that's so far. Looks a lot nicer in the daylight, I think. You can see more the true colours of the beads. Under that artificial light, it's really glares out the colours. So right, what I've decided next, I'm going to put this droplet here. And then I'll have to add a tiny bit of that chain to the bottom there. So I'm going to go ahead and add these. These ones have 4 holes on the sides. So I have to go through those holes down there on these ones. So I'm going to place that there. And then the thread is coming out down. Actually, I'm going to have to weave it in and out a couple of times to bring it to the right position. And I'm going to come up next to one of these holes here. Get this bead secured. Some people glue these down before they sew them. But, the less glue the better in my book. I hate the stuff, it's sticky. Gets on everything. So, and then down the other side. And you want to go through these several times to reinforce them. That's what I do anyway. Just to be sure they're nice and secure, being a bigger bead. So I'm going to do the bottom, and then I'm going to go back through all the holes twice, down to the bottom, and through the bottom corner there of the bead. So yeah, through the fabric. Yep, come through the bottom of the bead. And then back in through there. Oops. Easy to get tangled up. I'm going to go. Yeah, I think it's going to be more of a summer parasol than a umbrella. Just for fun. Just for fun. Haven't done anything sparkly for a while, so let's get some sparkles going on. Haven't done any beading at all for a while. I've been resting my hands. It is light work, but it still does aggravate the arthritis. So have to be careful not to do too much. There we go. So that's that one. I decided on pink instead of the blue. That was quite nice with the droplet. And then I'm going to put a little piece of the chain to finish off at the bottom. So I think I might need 2 pieces, not 3, but we'll see. It's very fiddly. We'll get there. I think 3 is going to be too many. We can just need 2 there. Yeah. Oh, hang on, I'm getting a phone call. 1 minute. Okay, so we're back. I actually forgot I was doing a video while I was on my phone call. I carried on beading, so yeah, I've attached the crystal, and then I've put a couple of little bits of the chain down the bottom there just to complete the line, and then I've added a couple of rows of my seed beads. So basically I'm just going to keep weaving the seed beads up and down. So I've got this pattern and filling in here, but I'm thinking that on one of these sides I might do a row of bicones like so down the sides, maybe something like that as well. So basically you just make it up as you go along. You can add whichever beads. I could put two rows, can I? One there and one there of the crystals, and then fill in the rest with the seed beads. So what I'm going to do is just keep beading, going up and down, and adding my beads. So I don't know if you need any further instruction for this bit, other than just carrying on with that pattern, adding the 2 seed beads. And the good thing about the bead embroidery is if you get to the bottom, you know, and you've got a little gap somewhere or in here somewhere, you just pop back up here, add another little seed bead, because there's not a a strict weaving pattern like there is. So when you're making a bracelet, you know, you have to follow the exact pattern to make the bracelet turn out correct. With this, there is no pattern. You're just filling in your drawing, really. So with beads, I mean, you don't have to do them in lines like this either. You can make it however you really want to put your beads on, but I think it looks nicer in the rows. But yeah, there's various different techniques for adding the beads. This is just the way you add them to make them come out in that nice, neat line. Oh. Ambulance. So yeah, I'm just going to carry on like that all the way down, and then I'll come back to you when I've finished filling in and then show you what we do next. We have to take it off the ring, cut it out, and obviously we're going to put a back on there. We're going to add our umbrella handle, you know, it's going to be in behind like that, and it's going to come up there. I'm going to glue another bead on top, and that's obviously going to come out here because we're going to cut all this away. Then we're going to glue the back on, and then we'll seal the back and the front to each other with a beaded stitch, so you don't see that, the bit in between the two layers stuck together, and put the brooch pin on and stuff. So yeah, and just keep beading like so, and then adding whatever crystals. I mean, you could do pearls, do a little row of pearls in here or something, a row of blue pearls, you know, add whatever beads you want to make it as fancy or as plain as you like. And I'll meet you back when we get to about here, which is why I couldn't tell you what materials I'm using. I've already changed my mind from the blue crystal heart to the pink crystal teardrop, so I'll just kind of, you know, make it up as I go along. But yeah, that's so far. Alright, I'll get back to you when we get to the end. We've put all our beads on and show you what we do next. Okay, so if you managed to stay with me this far, then thanks for your time and well done. You can take it off the ring. It's a little bit over the top, a little bit super blingy, which, I don't know, it's a bit much. Look at all that bling, but it's fun. It's a bit of fun, isn't it? So then we've just got to basically get it off. I'm just going to cut round pretty close to the edge, like so. I'm reckon there'll be about 1 millimetre there for me to work with, I hope so. Let's get rid of all that bit before we go around the pointy bits. Just get that all out the way. It's starting to come together now. So then we're just going to basically cut round the edges. These aren't quite so sharp as they were when I first got them. I need a new pair soon. Tool didn't want to come away now. Tulle, I think that's what that netting stuff's called. Tulle. I don't know if I pronounce it right. Tulle, yeah. And there we go. How's that looking? One little umbrella. And then, yeah, it's going to have the handle. beads I'm going to use on the top of this yet. Probably maybe one of them. And one of them. And then glue those on there like so. And that's going to stick out the top like that. And that's going to be my my little umbrella. How's that look? It's more for a coat brooch, you know, because it's quite big. You wouldn't really want it on the lapel of your blouse or your t-shirt, would you? So, yeah, the next job will be to add the back. Yeah, I think that's going to look quite cute, isn't it? Little umbrella. Yeah, it is, like I say, very over the top. Oh, I've left some tulle on there, look, accidentally. Let's get rid of that. Doesn't want to snip. There we go. Trying to get just that tulle without the... There we go. One umbrella. Alright, so I'm going to leave this here as part 1, and then we'll do a part 2 where I'll show you how to add your top, your thingy, top, what am I talking about? Your umbrella handle, and how to do the back. So it's going to look like that. Yeah, I think that'll look nice on a fur coat or something. Black fur coat, that would look gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. There you go. So yeah, that's stage 1, and then I'll show you how to do the backing, because obviously the back is with all your stitches, and you need to be able to have a clasp to attach it to your clothing. So yeah, that's part 1 finished. Yeah, looking good. That's going to be really cute, I think. Very nice. There we go. Right, see you in part 2. Yeah, I thought I'd give you a little zoom in so you can see what I've done. I've used some pearls there. I've added some more flowers at the top. Some little pearls. Like I say, it is very over the top. A little bit OTT, but lots of fun. So there you go. And we'll go on to the next stage in the next video and make the back.